Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's question time live stream. It's our live show where we answer any of your questions that you may have regarding game dev, Unreal Engine or anything you want at all. You just ask your question in the chat and I'll try and grab as many questions as I can within the hour or so that we are here live. If you're unable to get your question answered, don't worry to put it into chat again and I'll try and catch it next time. But try not to spam it if you can help it. If you're a Patreon member, you can also ask your question ahead of time using the question time queue jump on our Patreon Discord. So just trying to get Unreal loaded up here. It's taking a while, I don't know why. So yeah, here we go. Where am I? How is everyone doing? Everyone okay? There we go. My friend wants to know what you're hiding behind your beard. It's just another beard. It's a beard covering another beard that is covering a tattoo of a beard. That's what it is. Yeah. Hello, I'm working on an electricity system with poles. Can't find anywhere any video about that topic. How? Okay. So yeah, we can talk about stuff like that. Okay, when you break, there's a lot of times where you'll come up with a game idea, a game mechanic that you're not going to find any videos on, and that's because obviously the pool of ideas is infinitely large. So go back to breaking down the problem. So when we're coming up with like this electricity system, think about how it works in real life and how that can, like, what has to happen here for that to work. So, if you want to travel electricity down a wire or down a pole, those poles need to be connected. And so first we'll have like an actor class, which would be your electric pole, for example. And we'll just add a little mesh to this so we can see it. Cylinder should do the job. I'll just put that there. I'm going to make it a bit thinner, more pole-like. Yeah, I do. Here we go. Okay, so the most basic thing this needs to have is it needs to be able to connect to other devices, and those devices need to be able to like draw power from this. So this thing needs to know how much power it can have flowing through it at any one moment. So what we can do is add a variable for power, and this would be a float or is powered. You have your various things. Is powered, and you have a boolean on that, and that will connect to other devices which are either supplying power or going to draw power from it. It's basically like a battery, temporary battery. It's going to be storing power, then taking power away from it. So alongside that, I need to be able to source another power source from this. So I'm just going to duplicate this and do power source. I'll just change the mesh so it stands out a bit. And we'll change that to a block or something. Like that. There we go. Power source. It still has power. It's powered. It may have like a larger amount of power, but it's still powered. And then comes the connecting part. So this thing needs to know what it's connected to. So it depends on how you want to set things up. Like your power source could have like one connection, but your pole could have like multiple connections. Either way, you need a way to reference the connections. So in the variables here, I'm going to add my connections variable, and this will be a actor reference. And if you want it to be, just type in actor would help. If you just want it to be just like just to one-to-one connection, you can leave it like this. But I'm going to do this as a multi-connection, so you can have some like power source going into it, and then it's branching off to multiple things. So this will need an array. Okay. We now need to know if we're going to draw power from any of our connections. Okay, so the way this is going to work, it'd be much like how real life works with power and power cables and power lines, is that the thing that is smaller is going to draw power from the thing that is bigger. So if the big thing has more power on one side, the smaller thing is going to draw power from the bigger thing. Yeah. So I need to be able to read the power connected on each connection here. And if one is higher than my one, then I'm going to draw power from this one and become powered myself. Okay. So on, I'll do a thing like a timer based thing. Check connections. So the way I'm breaking this down, by the way, is I'm breaking it down into two parts. The first part is getting it fundamentally just to functionally work. And then I can worry about like the looks of it, making like a cable connecting them. Like that can come later. That's not a big deal. The check connections though, it's going to be a regular check that happens frequently to find out if things are connected still. Or we can do something that as soon as you plug something in or take something out, it'll recheck the connections and search through each one of them. So we're going to do a for each loop. And in here, we're going to take the array element. Oh, God. And we're going to... I'm going to get the power from it. So I'm going to make an interface to handle this because we're going to have multiple things using power. So blueprint interface. Power interface. And this one will be get power. Output a float. Power, and that'll do. And my electric pole and my power source, I can go on here and go to interfaces here, power interface, and I'll just add that interface get power. There you go. I'm just going to plug in the power there. So imagine it's connected to other poles, for example. It'll go to each one and go get power. Like that. That'll return a power level. And this will return whether or not this thing is powered by it. If this power is greater than the power this thing has. So get power is greater... if this power, sorry, is greater than this power. We're going to say to this thing is powered. Set is powered. And we're going to set the power to the power level that's coming into it. And then we'll like make it smaller by a fraction of some kind. So we'll do like multiply by 0.8, for example. So it gets smaller as it goes down the chain. So if you've got like the power source connected to a power pole. By that last power pole, it would be a smaller power value. Much like how it works in real life. Yeah, the power generator at the I was about to say power factory, that ain't right. The power station is going to be a much greater volume than it is going to be in your household. And it just goes down and down and down as it goes across the country. So it works the same sort of premise, basically. So we'll make it smaller and feed it into here. Okay? So that'll become the new power. And I'll just keep going through and checking that thing out. I then going to do a thing on here to check my power level and say if this thing is powered, I'm going to turn a light on so we can easily see if it's powered or not. Let's add a light to it. And we'll default that to red for no power. And when this is completed checking connections, it will know whether or not it's powered or not. So we go get is powered, and then on my point light, I'm going to drag that out and do set light color based upon that, and new light color will do select color. And is powered will go into there. And if it's true, it'll pick the A value, which will be green. If it's false, which would be B, it will make it red. Like that. So that should do that. And I'm just going to put this in like a timer. So it checks frequently. Set time by event. And we'll put that in there. And we'll say check every 2 seconds on a loop. Yeah, for instance. Okay, so that's that bit. So this thing is not a power source, so it has zero power to begin with. I'm going to go down to my power source, do a similar thing here where I'm going to add connections. And this will be... well, it doesn't really need to have connections because nothing's plugging into it. It's all only going out. But it doesn't matter. Actor... reference, and we could say that's an array, for example, whatever. But this power is a lot larger, so we say this has got 100 power. Okay, and it is powered by default. It's a power source. It's got power in it. So if I were to drag that out, there's my power source, and there's my electric pole. Okay, and there you can see the red. It's not the best idea, but you can see the red glow on it. I'll make it darker. There you go. So if I make these poles connected to this generator, so if I go into here and make connections here editable, I can click on this pole here and I can add the power source to it. I'm going to leave this one off. So what we should get is hopefully nothing working. Power source is got power. Oh, it didn't do the interface for the power source. So class settings, interface, power, interface, and then get power. Boom. There you go. It's powered. Yeah. So that's powered now by this power source. And let's say I want to hook this one up to this pole now. So I'm going to add connection here. And I'm going to connect this one to this pole here. So the first pole is connected to the battery. The second pole is connected to this other pole. So the power should travel down each one. But keep in mind that the power level is actually getting lower and lower. So this starts at 100. That's multiplied by 0.8 when it gets to here, which will be like 80. Which will then be times by 0.8 again, which is something. And then it should turn on. So we've got green and green. Hey! And we got power. So we've got electric system basically. And that's how that works. And then, as I said, visually, if you want to connect it with cables, you can do that too. You've got a reference to connections. So you just add a cable component to each one of those and connect them up. It works really well. So let's put some more in here. This one I'm going to connect to this one here. This one I'm going to connect to this one here. And I'm going to put another one in that's connected to the first one again. So I'm going to go over here and connect that to the first one again. Like that. So that first one will turn on. Then these two will turn on. Then this one will turn on. And that one will turn on. Yay! We have power. Hopefully that helps you out. Whoever answered that question, I can't remember. Who was that? Let me go back and have a look. Nubstex. Hopefully that helps you out, Nubstex, and you enjoyed that look. But yeah, it's just a matter of just everything's drawing power a little bit at a time. Eventually you'll get to a very small amount of power, and that's when we get to things like you want a repeater and you want to repeat the power up, you want to boost it. So you connect it to a repeater and it'll boost the power back up and carry the chain down. And which we do in real life. That's what happens in real life. We go to power stations and we go to like, I don't know what they call them. And then they boost the power up again and then transfer it back on. Okay, so next question. I'm going to scroll up a bit here. Hold on. Hi, this is from Foxy. Oh, Eyeless. Sorry, I'll do a quick one for you. I've got a few. Sorry, I'm going to miss a couple. Eyeless, I'm from the UK. I have a British accent. Hello. Nutty Jakes. Hello, Ryan. How could I add wiggle to the grappling cable when I shoot a grappling hook? I would just do it as material wiggle. I wouldn't actually do a wiggle. I just make the material wiggle. by using like the simple wind thing. Do that. Yeah, Foxy 3D. Hi, I was wondering how to do walking on a beam. There are like 2 videos out there. Interesting. Yeah, let's try that out. I haven't done that before, so let's try that process out. So we need a beam. So I'm just going to put in a beam model. Pardon me. Okay. There we go. Right. So first of all, we want to make sure we can actually walk along it. There's a few things, a few different ways of doing beam stuff. Like, you can do it like, how to describe it, like mini game or no mini game. So the mini game you normally get with beam sort of balancing is that you have to keep a bar in the middle or balance the character and keep them balanced as they travel across the line. You can totally do that. I'm guessing that's the one you want, because you can do a beam just balance on the beam, and you can make it so that you have like a detection system to detect when you're walking on the beam and make it fall off. Let me know which one you wanted that you have in mind. I'm going to guess it's the first one with that sort of balancing act. Do let me know. While waiting for that response, I'll see if I can answer any more. James Macklemore. Hey Ryan, I watched your tutorial on how to throw grenades, and I was wondering how to make the grenades stick and stuff like enemies and walls and enemies. Very simple. All you have to do is on the event on hit, you just want to tell it to stop all physics on it. So you just say simulate physics off, a projectile movement off, you just make it stop, and that's it. No bounce, nothing like that. It'll just hit the floor, hit the wall, and just stop and stay there. Like for game project for my horror. That doesn't help me. I don't know your game. Do you want to like consensus then? If everyone wants to know, do you want to try and do like a balancing mini game with the wiggle back and forth to balance while you cross the thing, or do you want to do it so the you can walk freely across it? You've just got like a chance to fall off if you wander off the edges, or maybe you want them to stay stuck on it so I can't fall off the edge. I don't know. You tell me. I can do Ben. I can do more on data assets. What do you want to know more about data assets? I can definitely do that. Okay, I'm gonna try and do like a balancing mini game type thing here, I think. Oh, you want the second one, just to walk across it. Oh, okay. Super simple. Like, also, doing it like automatic, where they just get onto the beam and just walk across it? Or do you want to, like, you can just walk along the beam? Either way, we can do that. So, you answer that question while I set this up. So, we need to make a volume to detect that it's a beam and not anything else. And so, there's multiple ways of doing this. I don't know if this is going to be the right way or the best way, but it's a way. Beam balance, we'll call it. And this will have a volume on it. Not volume, box collision in it. Box collision. There we go. That'll do. Okay. And this will need an in and an out. So you have we'll do box A. And we'll do another one, box B, like that. And I'll move that over there. Okay. So, making it in and out. This is the same way I do, by the way, like squeezing through the wall stuff you get from like Tomb Raider and Uncharted. Same sort of concept, really. You have like a start and an end. They're actually technically either. Both hand starts and ends. But you need entrance and exits, okay? So when you hit one, your character's going to go over to the other one and like cross it safely, and then vice versa. If you walk into this one, it's going to cross you over to this one, and you obviously take the play and animation and whatever else it needs to do over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also typically what we'll do is that's not a big problem. So box A, we'll just do add event on component begin overlap. If the other actor is equal to my player character. And like that. And this is box A. So this one, I want the game to kind of take control away from me and just make me cross without me telling it to do so. So it's like automatic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let AI take control of my character. So what I need to do is I need to tell it to spawn default. Oh, hang on. If I get the player character and promote that to a variable here, and we call that traveler. There we go. And the reason why I'm storing it as a reference is because I'm about to tell AI to take over it. I then need, when it gets to the end, to say player controller take back control, but it needs to know what to take back control of. So yeah, easy to do it like this. So traveler, and then I'm going to do spawn default controller, and that should spawn its AI controller. And it should possess it straight away. If not, I'll have to unpossess first of all. I can't recall if it does or not. And then once it's done that, I'm going to take my traveler and go AI move 2 and move 2. And that'd be the pawn. There you go. The destination will be the box B in this case. So box B, get world location, and put that in there. And on success, we're going to get our player controller and tell our controller to take possession again. Assess. On success, our traveler. And it's the same for box B. So box B, add event, begin overlap, and basically it's exactly the same. So just take this, copy, paste. Other actor into there, into there. But we just change this one, box B to box A. And that's it. So yeah, we've got that. Obviously being AI, you need to make sure it has navigation on it. Now this is the problem you have with beams and navigation meshes, because navigation meshes won't generate on top of that. So we have to fake it. Let me add a nav mesh first. So like if I push P now, it won't generate a nav mesh on top of that because it says it's being too thin. It says, oh, the character can't balance along that. So what you need to do is basically tell it to pretty much fake the walkway so it looks like a beam, but technically doesn't. It has like actual bits on it. So if I go to the beam balance and go back to here, I'm going to add a cube to this, and we'll just do like that, for example. That might be wide enough. And I'm going to go down to hidden in game and turn that on. So if I now drag that out into my scene and put that there, we now got generation. So it should generate nicely on that and let me go over it. So to make sure my A and B on the other side. So you just grab them inside the details panel. You can move them independently. So I'm going to put that over here. You can also rescale them individually as well. Like that. And I go to box B. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Yeah, let's give it a try. So as you can see, you can't see the mesh anymore. No, I have to set it to unpossess. Oh wait, no, did I just walk into it? I can't remember. Don't know if I got that far enough. No. Right, I have to do unpossession. I wasn't too sure if you had to or not. So yeah, when I first overlap these, yep, I need to, before I spawn the default controller, I need to tell my controller to unpossess. Unprocess. And put that down here. Okay. So there you go. Now the camera didn't go with it because when you're unpossessed, the controller by default, its behavior is to disconnect the camera. But yeah. And if you want to make it slower, obviously you can make it slower. So when it hits AI move 2, we'll take the traveler and do set max walk. Oh, I have to get the, sorry, back to movement component first. Movement component. Set max walk speed to 200. On the other side as well. And on the, when it ends possession, I'm going to set it back to its default, which is I think 600. There we go. So now we've got our character walking along a beam automatically for us and getting off. So no balance mini game, it's just them walking through it. If you want the camera to stay on them, what you need to do is make your own controller. So I'll make it in here. And do my player controller. And you need to take to manage, like turn off auto manage for the camera target, which is this option up here, auto manage active camera target. You turn that off, but it does mean you have to manage the whole camera. So if I push play now, the camera's not going to attach to the character. So what you want to do is, if I go to player character, on begin play, I'm going to get the controller, player controller, ideally. And from that, I'm going to do set view target with blend, self. So it's only an annoying thing when you turn it off, you do have to manage it all yourself. So yeah, when you go up here now, the camera should stay with us or not. Why are they going off like that? Oh, I didn't actually set the projectile player character controller. Words, right? Use words. That's the player controller. I want game mode. Game mode, player controller class, my player controller. Push play. No, still not want to do it. Why not? Oh. I turned off auto manage, so why the hell is it doing that? My player controller. Yep. Yep. My player controller. Auto manage active camera. Target. Off. It should stay with it. The whole point of auto active is to not disconnect the camera. I mean, it's not the end of the world. You can always go back to the beam and tell him to set the view target again to the character. Beam balance and do player controller. Set view target to the traveler. Like that. I could probably put that setting back on, actually, thinking of that. I'll put it back to the normal player controller. Oh, or not. Why is it doing that? Possess. Don't know why it's not doing that. It should do. Hmm. Curious. I mean, it's not the end of the world, I guess, but let's try the little delay. Maybe that a magical delay will help us here. Is camera using a spring arm? Yeah, but it's just still moving with the character. There you go. Little magical delay we needed. There we are. Cool beans. And obviously that works over any distance. As long as it's a straight line. So I'll do a copy of that beam and this thing. I mean, technically it will also work for like slopes, I guess. As long as they're straight slopes. If I do that. The beam balance there. The main thing is just the blocking thing. So go details and just. Sorry, I've been ill the past week, I guess now, and the cough's lingering. I need to extend the nav mesh. Yeah, that should do it. Box A. Like that. Nav mesh. There we go. And that should let me cross that beam up there. And there we go. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, you can do like slopes. Just you probably could do like bends, but it won't be as smooth. But you could do a spline method as well. That also works. You know, there's loads of things you could do. But beams. There you go. Next question. Pamine is asking about lighting. How can we manage a huge interior we need to light? One giant light or multiple little ones with Lumen? Okay, so with Lumen kind of not great for interior lighting. So the solution to it, I found the best solution is to add a flat ambient light by creating a directional light with no car shadows. So you let me do an example. I might zoom in interior room. Hold on one sec. Like that. Okay, so it doesn't help that I've got things in here that I've got lights on. Hold on. Let me delete these things. Okay, so obviously very dark room. So to light an interior, bring in a directional light, but turn shadows off. And you'll also want to turn down the intensity because that is nuts. So turn it down to like 1 or something. You get a nice flat sort of shade across the whole interior of the level. And then you put other lights inside of it to actually support like the shadows or lighting in the actual scene you want to do. You can't walk now because of the ceiling, but that is a common trick I found to be quite good. And then, but as I say, it looks weird unless you actually put some actual lights in there to sort of either fake it or paint the scene. But if you want a flat light across the whole entire level, like it's typically useful for like caves and things like that. If you want to do caves, you do this, but you make it like not white, you make it more bluish, and it'll give you sort of like nighttime dark sort of feeling. So yeah, do something like that. Next question. Ty Elliott, does anyone know anything about getting ads set up on iOS? I haven't done it with Unreal before, but essentially when you get ads, you'll get an ad code when you for your ad provider, and if this is supporting it without plugins, it will be in the project settings. So you go down to project settings, check iOS, and see if it's got any settings for that. I don't know if it does or not. If not, you may need to do a plugin. Let me just double check it. Blueprint, like show ad, for example. Oh, there you go. No, you have got stuff like show ad banner. So this is for iOS or Android only. So ad banners are banners. Interstitial ads. These are the ones that take up the full screen and block the whole thing. So they're like videos or interactive things. So you click on that one. But oh, can you not set it? You must be able to set it somewhere. Usually you get like a code or a thing to say like, hey, show ad, and it will show this particular ad in this particular location. So ad index, yeah, where it must be in there. Ad. Yeah, so here, for example, Google Play Services, AdMob App ID. Do you know for iOS as well? I don't know about iOS, but Android, it's there. Whether they use it, because AdMob doesn't care if it's Android or iOS. It handles that side. So I mean, in theory, it should work all the same. Where was it? Just saw it. Google Play Services, AdMob App ID. So when you create the AdMob ad, it's using AdMob. This is their provider. If you want to use that, then you get an app ID from them, and then down here, once you set that, you'll get unit IDs, and then you can copy and paste the codes into there, and then you can use the codes when you do this ad index. I don't know about this one because you don't. It says Android only. Yeah, so iOS might use the same ad banner stuff as the Android stuff, but I'm not too sure. There are no doubt better plugins that support this rather than the built-in stuff. Rockin' Patty, how do I make a cave with a landscape? Go. So landscapes are height maps, which means they can't have concave shapes, which, as you can imagine by the name of it, it means you can't have caves in that kind of sense. So what you have to do, and I think I've got a video on it somewhere, is create your landscape. Yeah, we'll just do like -50. And create it like that. And you create your mountain or whatever you want to make the cave in, blah, 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 blah. And then you have to make a hole in your landscape. And when you make the hole, you then stick the model of your cave into the hole. And then you cover up the seams with like other models and meshes. So if I first of all need to make a landscape material that supports alpha channels. Give me a sec. Material, landscape, alpha. And we'll do this as masked. So blend mode, masked. And we'll do landscape. And you'll see in here, visibility mask as an option. This will be your opacity mask. Put that in there. And then the base color is whatever you want the base color to be. So, you can put whatever textures you're doing for the grass and blah, 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 blah. No. There you go. For example. And then, obviously, apply that to your landscape. So, we're going to click on the landscape. Landscape alpha. And then didn't apply it to all of it. Oh, for God's sake. Bloody streaming boxes. Just do the whole thing like that. Escape alpha. There we are. And then on the landscape mode, you go to visibility brush, and in here you can paint a hole like this. And this does affect collision, so you can jump through that hole. And then you put a model of a cave on the other side of it, and you cover up the seam with another meshes and things like that. But yeah, that's how you do caves. And that's all because you can't do concave height maps. They don't support it. It can only go up and down. They can't do overhanging things. So we use meshes to help us do that. Rogfog SX. Is it true we need C++ to register enemy/friend into AI perception site detection? Yes. You do. If you want to use that hostility detection thing they have built into the engine, yes, you need to use C++ standard. There's no blueprint or engine level surface to change that information and make it work. But honestly, you're better off just making your own. It's not complex to make. I've got a video about it coming out some point soon. I've started filming it the other day. I need to finish filming it. About doing like team-based AI and making hostility between AI and things like that. So keep an eye on that in the future. Coming hopefully sooner rather than later. Sundimia, is it any way to edit a landscape at runtime? Not this type of landscape, no. For that, you'll need to rely on something called voxels, which are three-dimensional pixels and rendering them like that. I highly recommend using a plugin to help you do this. But no, you can't edit the landscape at runtime. Try some CG. How to make inventory like in the game Dredge. I made one, but I couldn't make it work with non-symmetrical shapes like in L shape or T shape. I don't know what that system is. I haven't played the game. I've seen bits of it, but I haven't seen like inventory stuff. Let's see if I can find a video to watch. Gameplay. Oh right, you do it. It's okay. It's the Resident Evil 4 type inventory. I see. Pardon me. It's not something we can do right now. It's quite a complex thing to try and do. Essentially, yeah, if think about how it works. Like, yeah, it's not straightforward. The thing you have to do to make it work is you have to think about like what it's actually doing. So it's basically reserving slots and assigning them to an item. Okay. And those slots it reserves are relative to each other. So if it's non-symmetrical, it doesn't matter if it's symmetrical or non-symmetrical. If you rotate it or move it or slide it around, the slots are going to check neighboring slots if they are vacant. If they are vacant, it's going to assign it as a partner for it. Yeah, we can't do it right now. Maybe it's something we can do in the future. as a series, as it's quite lengthy and quite technically in depth. As you do have a lot of do a lot of checking of stuff. But that's how it works. It's basically you're reserving neighboring grids, and you can use like things like arrays to determine the shape of the grid if you want. Like Minecraft uses like an array to organize the shape of its recipes, for example. So I mean, hang on, I'll get my notepad out. So you could have like a two-dimensional array, and you are storing the coordinates of each slot that is relative to the main slot. So you dedicate one slot to be the main slot, and obviously if that slot is not in a valid slot, then obviously no, can't work. But if where you drag it to becomes active and is okay, you then have an array of coordinates, and the coordinates will look like so if it's vertical, like a straight line, you'd have 0, 1, 0, -1. Okay, now that would be -1. That would be a vertical line, 3 vertical lines. If you wanted like a T shape, that would be that'd be 1, 0. So that's 1 to the left, or 1 to the right. 1 to the left would be -1. And if it and 0, then it'll be down 1, so it'd be -1 there. And if you want it so you can rotate these shapes around, you have to rotate these coordinates as well. So if you rotate it 90 degrees, it would become equal to basically the inverse. So it'd be the first one would become 0, 1. Yep. And this one will become -1. No. Yeah, -1, 0. Basically, and the way you want to do it is just if you look at the pattern that it makes when you do the 4 different rotations, you can see algorithmically what's happening here. So the next rotation would be 1, 0, and then it will be 0, 1, and then finally it'll be that'll be that, and then it'll be no crap, hang on, I'm getting confused. It helps if you've got a pen and paper rather than doing it on a notepad. 0, 1. Hang on. If it's there, 1, 0. Then it becomes 1. Then it becomes 1, yeah, and then it becomes 0, -1. But it should be the one that's left because it's the only position it hasn't been in. So, and then that'll be in 1, 0. Okay, so you do that, and that'll be like the triangle shape. Not triangle shape, like a 3 shape like that. And then you work out what the rotational is. So if you told the player to push right to turn it, what are you doing to each of these numbers? So the first coordinate, the first block, is we are multiplying by 1. No, inverting it, so it becomes 1, and then flipping it. I don't know. It takes some thinking. It'd be best to draw a diagram. But yeah, if you think about if you want to do rotational stuff like with different shapes, then yeah, you think about like what does it do to the numbers of the coordinates. But just assign one block to be the main block, and then everything else is relative to it, and you just check if they're free or not. No problem, Tyrus MCG. No problem. Western World Studio. Pokemon in episode 2, there was an issue with the camera overlapping with character. We adjusted location, rotation, and probe channel to visibility for Spring Arm and Spring Arm 1. I'm still having this issue. Thoughts? I don't know off the top of my head. I have to have a look at the actual game and look again. We'll be back on Pokemon not this weekend, weekend after. So come by then and we can go through it together when we talk about the next bit. This weekend, by the way, don't forget, we are doing a live level design session about doors. Super exciting, I know, but they're very important, and there's lots of really cool things to learn about doors and how to manage it. So if you want to learn about making good levels and level design, come by on Saturday for our live stream at usual time and learn about level designing doors. It'd be pretty cool. I've already made the lesson. I've made it all up. It's good. I can't wait to share it with you. Greeny, yes, that is a cave entrance. We did a cave discussion just a minute ago. And by the way, just to share about what I'm talking about when I do, when I say there's no collision here, there is no collision here. You can just jump right through. Okay. Vade scripts and 5M tutorials. Is it possible to make a 2D character that walks in the pressed buttons direction until it hits a wall? Yeah, you see, the trick to 2D characters and games is you make it like 3D, except that don't use a mesh, use a sprite. So you just use collision like any other thing. So you move it all about. It's exactly the same as third person. It's just rather than using a mesh, you use a sprite instead. You just add a sprite to this instead. Okay, and that is all you do. That is literally it. And then the collision will handle its own collision system. Yeah, it's literally just that. That's all it is. It's the same with like Unity and other game engines nowadays. If all 2D games are basically 3D game engines, it's just from one point of view. Which means you've got lots of really cool stuff you can do because it's 3D. Red Fog, another question about AI perception. Can it detect player left or right, or would it be C++ necessary again? I wouldn't work in C++ either. You do the same sort of code. Essentially, what you got to do is let me just add a perception thing on here so I can show you. Oh no. So you get your target perception updated thing, and you get your stimulus coming out of it. And this would be the same in C++ as well. Obviously, not with dragging and dropping, but you know. But it's the same sort of logic. You have the location, and you want to work out whether the player's location is to the left or to the right of the character. Well, for that, you just need to do the direction to the thing that you're detecting. So you get actor location, and you do direction to. Unit direction rather. Unit direction from me to it. Or you can just do this. Well, with receiver from to Dag. Do it that way too. And you want to get that direction, and you also want to get your the actor's right vector's direction as well. So get right vector. Oh, get actor right vector. There we go. And you want to do a dot product of these two. Okay, and then you do a sign on that, and that will give you a left will be -1, right will be 1, and that's how you can determine whether you're left or right of something. And what it's doing is doing a dot product. So a dot product essentially takes in this case, two normalized vectors, which are directions, and looks at how similar they are. The more similar they are, the closer to 1 it gets. The more dissimilar they are, the closer it gets to -1. So if it's looking to the right of me and I'm looking at the right vector, number's going to be positive. So we use sign to basically work out if it's positive or negative. If it's positive, it means it's to the right of me. If it's negative, it means it's to the left of me. That's how you do that. And you do the same as well for things like higher and lower with up and down, up vector. So, yeah. Western World Studio. If we sign up for Laylee one-to-one sessions, what time in general would those take place? I'm in the US and interested. PST. So it is all. I do all sorts of hours. I basically do sessions with everyone from around the world. So I do try to make sure there's slots open for all across the day at some point in the week. So like tonight, for example, I'll be up doing sessions until 1 a.m. my time, which is about morning-ish for, oh no, for like LA, California, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, I work evenings and mornings and middays and all sorts of things. So yeah. Greenie, can you make a cave using spline instead of a hole inside a mesh, or does it have to be a model? Yes, you can. In fact, I've done a series on it way back at the start when I made the channel. I made a series about cave stuff, so check it out. Shane Hess, Ryan, you ever going to start a studio? If I have the money to, I will. Yes. So Mimic, for example, if Mimic does well, that would lead to a studio. We're looking at investments at the end of the year, so we're looking at that sort of thing. By the way, I'm going to show you something really cool. Find it. Where did I put it? It's on Discord. I can look at Discord. Yeah, so if I go to this like on Discord, I'll put it up on here. So me and Luke have been working on the animation for Mimic, my horror game, and we got this far with it so far, and we really like the way it's going. So this is how the Mimic spawns out of a player. Cool, right? So yeah, it's been fun. I'll show it again. Really chuffed with it. I think it looks awesome. And I'll show you how we did all this as well. In a tutorial at some point, we'll do a tutorial about how it was achieved. And I'm sure Luke will talk about how he put it together as well. It's been lots of fun for both of us putting that thing together. And I can't wait to do the audio for it. And yeah, it's going to be fun. But we had to do a lot of learning to do it as well, because we found some issues with it, with the animation, how animations are compressed and worked inside Unreal. So yeah, had to deal with a lot of issues there, but we've got it working and it's super cool. But yeah. Legends never die. Can I ask how many games you have published on Steam or other platforms? Personally published. 4? I think 4. Like, I personally like self-published for myself, yeah. Yeah, it's looking really cool. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it looks really cool. I like it a lot. Okay, we're gonna last couple of questions, I think, or one decently lengthy one. Who hasn't had a question answered? Let's have a look. Cristobal Thompson. I have a character that needs a drag and drop enemies, but I want those enemy bodies to have physics. How can I do that? Okay, so we can't do the whole thing because we ain't got enough time. But I'll give you the rundown of how this works. So enemies will look like capsules with guys inside of them. With the ragdoll enabled, the character will flop to the floor. The problem you have, if you want them to get back up again, the capsule and the mesh will be disconnected. So you have to tell the capsule to move to where the mesh is and simultaneously set the mesh back to 0, 0. And it does work. It will look seamless. And then you have to have some sort of animation of them getting up, obviously, and turn off physics. So with physics enabled to do ragdoll, if you want to grab them, you need to use the physics handle. Now, you can look at any of my videos I've done about physics interactions before, and you can see the physics handle being used there. It works exactly the same. It's just you're grabbing a physical ragdoll of a body, and you'll be dragging it around. And you just go and by a certain point on that body, by that actor, and you'll drag it up, and it'll flop about and fly around. We don't have time to do it functionally here because it takes a bit of time to set up, and we ain't got time to do it. But that's how it works. Okay, just be aware that if you want them to get back up again, there's a bit of fiddly work to do to get the capsule back to where their bodies are, because otherwise they stand up and it doesn't look right. Weston Words, did you do a Kickstarter campaign? No, not yet. So the plan for Kickstarter for Mimic and things like that is we'll have the game playable and in testing before it goes into Kickstarter type investments. All investments, and from a Kickstarter or any other sources, all investments will go towards making the game better. So, good example for this is animations. At the moment, one of the things you have to do is pick up a battery, and you have to charge the battery. Now, currently, you pick up the asset, it appears in your hands, and then you push the button, and the thing teleports from your hands into the machine. That animates and goes, and then spits it back out, puts it back in your hands. That's all well and good. But with extra funding, we can actually make an animation of a character putting in the machine properly, closing it, and going along that route. And it's other things like that. So that sort of stuff is more expensive. We have to do that. And so that funding will help towards making the game better in that sort of sense, as well as like more optimization, more better testing, and better servers, things like that. And we're also going to be doing using it for marketing as well, because marketing is super expensive, and we're going to try and do our best to make it as good as possible marketing wise. So taking it to trade shows and events, and set up like little dark rooms for people to play it in, so they can't see any other people playing. And yeah, how many people do you have working on it? It's just me primarily. Luke's doing a couple of animations for me, because he's a good friend of mine. And later on, we're looking at bringing on probably a couple more freelancers to do stuff like animations and models. Yeah. What games are you playing at the minute? I'm playing Diablo 4, Baldur's Gate 3, Disney Illusion Island, and on my phone I'm playing Hogwarts. What is it? Harry Potter. No, it's Harry Potter something. It's Harry Potter Candy Crush. It's better than normal Candy Crush. It's just a really good Candy Crush clone, and it's better than normal Candy Crush. I've been really enjoying it. I think it's a really good game. So that's what I play on my phone when I'm like in bed or going to the bathroom or whatever. But yeah, I've got Disney Illusion on my Switch. Been playing that. But been playing Diablo 4. My main is a sorcerer, but I'm seasoning with a Necro monster, and I'm level 53, I think, a Necro. So working my way through it bit by bit. I don't get time to play many games lately, so I get to jump on like for like an hour, maybe here, there. So yeah. But yeah, anyway, that'll do for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for your questions. It's been a really good question time. I really enjoyed doing the beam. I really enjoyed doing the power system. That was cool fun to work out and try and put together. And if you missed that, you can watch back and to start and see our power system we built in. We're back again live on Saturday for our live session of level design with doors in particular in mind. This is something I want to try and do these sort of level design sessions live with a different focus each time. So this time we're focusing on doors in particular. And doors essentially could be like 2 or 3 sessions, but we're not going to do that. We'll just do one for now. And then we'll branch out, do other level design things. So maybe do like open world level design, talk about that, talk about how you design for that. Because it feels like when I'm reviewing people's games, giving feedback for people's games, one of the hardest things people seem to struggle with is level design. They're pretty good at putting the games together, but level design is kind of weak and it needs a lot of improvement. So I'm going to try and do my best to try and give some insight in how to make that better. And yeah, to better support you guys in making your games. Now, yeah, and so we're trying to do more level design stuff, including open world. So it's quite common to see people really mess that bit up, and it really is sad to see. But yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. We're back again on Saturday and back again next Wednesday for question time. We do this every Wednesday, and you can answer your questions then. We've got more videos coming out each day. We've got cool new surprises coming as well to the channel. Coming soon. Don't know when, but coming soon. And if you're a Patreon member, don't forget, this is your chance to also take part in our monthly new feedback show, where you can submit a piece of work and I'll give you some feedback. All you have to do is join the Creator Challenge, which is open to all Patreon members from $1 up. And all you have to do is, this month, is make a certain something and then upload it and I'll review your projects. I've reviewed a couple already and it's been good to go through and give some feedback on them. And we'll be releasing a video about all that with all the results and feedback and information so everyone can learn from it in mid-September roughly. But each month we'll start with a new one. And so each month we get a new one going forwards. But yeah, been fun. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Been nice talking to you all. And I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.